The blue-skinned alien named Zara watched from across the crowded space station as the human female worked on her ship repairs. Her slender fingers moved with surprising precision despite their seemingly fragile appearance. The alien had studied humans for years, but had never been this close to one in person. Zara belonged to the Niliri race. Tall, elegant beings with luminescent blue skin and eyes that shifted colors with their emotions. Her people considered themselves the apex of evolution in the galaxy with their superior strength, intelligence, and lifespans that stretched for centuries. They viewed humans as an interesting but ultimately inferior species until Zara met Kate. Mason was a mechanic assigned to Outpost 7, a busy trading hub at the edge of human space. She had no special talents by human standards, just an ordinary woman trying to make her way in the universe. Yet there was something about her that Zara found utterly fascinating. The Niliri approached the human, carefully noting how Kate wiped sweat from her brow as she tightened a loose panel on her small cargo ship. Kate looked up at the approaching alien. Her eyes widened slightly, but she showed none of the fear Zara had expected. Most species were intimidated by the Niliri. "Hey there," Kate said with a casual smile. "Need something fixed?" Zara blinked, her eyes shifting to a surprised purple. "No, I was merely observing your work. Your species has such unusual methods." Kate laughed. The human sound was musical in a way Zara had never appreciated before. "We make do with what we have. Not all of us can afford those fancy Niliri tools." That was true. Zara realized the Niliri had advanced technology that made most tasks effortless. They rarely had to improvise or struggle. Everything came easily to them. Yet here was this human creating solutions with limited resources. "Can I watch you work?" Zara asked, her voice soft. "Sure." Kate shrugged. "Just stay out of the blast zone." She gestured to the area around her. "I sometimes make things worse before they get better." For 3 days, Zara observed Kate fix everything from navigation systems to the food synthesizers on the station. The human worked long hours, stopping only when her body demanded rest. She ate simple meals and slept in a small quarters with none of the luxuries a Niliri would consider essential, when a power coupling exploded, nearly injuring a group of visiting merchants. Kate moved without hesitation, throwing herself between the blast and a child. The human suffered minor burns on her arms but waved away medical attention until everyone else was checked. "Your skin," Zara said later as she helped apply medicine to Kate's wounds. "It will scar." Kate nodded. "Yeah, probably, but the kid is okay, so worth it." Zara could not comprehend this. The Niliri avoided physical pain at all costs and would never risk their perfect forms for another species. Yet Kate had done so, without a second thought. The more time Zara spent with the human, the more her understanding shifted. Kate laughed often, even when things went wrong. She shared her food with others who had less. She worked until her hands were rough and calloused. Yet she seemed more content than many Niliri Zara knew who lived in perfect comfort. One night, Kate invited Zara to join her on the observation deck. The space station orbited a gas giant with rings that shimmered in the light of twin stars. "It's beautiful, right?" Kate said, gazing at the view. Yes, Zara agreed, though. She had seen more impressive sights, but she found herself looking not at the planet, but at Kate's face, the way the starlight touched her features, the small lines around her eyes when she smiled. The human turned, caught her staring. "Something wrong with my face?" "No," Zara said, her skin flushing a deeper blue. "I was thinking how strange your species is. You live such short lives, yet you experience so much in that time. You feel so deeply. You create art and music and stories despite knowing you will be gone in less than a century." Kate laughed. "I never thought about it that way. Maybe that's why we try to pack so much living into our time." Zara nodded, but remained silent, her mind racing with new thoughts. She had come to Outpost 7 on a simple mission to observe human trading practices and report back to the Niliri Council. Yet now she found herself drawn to this human in ways that confused her. The next day, an alarm blared through the station. Pirates, 3 ships approaching fast. Kate rushed to help secure the docking bay while Zara stood frozen. The Niliri were not fighters. Their superior technology had made conflict unnecessary for centuries. They simply avoided dangerous situations, yet Kate ran toward danger, not away from. Zara hesitated, then followed. The pirates were a mix of species unified by greed. They stormed the station with plasma weapons demanding cargo and supplies. Kate organized a group of mechanics and traders, creating a barricade near the central hub, where most of the station residents had taken shelter. "What are you doing?" Zara asked as Kate rigged fuel cells to power an old shield generator, buying time until security arrives. Kate said, not looking up. Her hands were steady despite the sounds of weapons fire growing closer. Zara had never been in combat. Her people considered violence primitive, yet watching Kate work under pressure awakened something in her, a desire to help, to protect. A pirate broke through a side entrance, the human security. Guards were overwhelmed at the main doors. No one noticed except Zara. Without thinking, she moved. Her species had evolved for different purposes, not for fighting, but they were strong. Stronger than humans. Stronger than most pirates. The pirate never saw her coming. Zara knocked him unconscious with a single blow, then secured his weapons. Kate looked up in shock. "Did you just yes?" Zara said, surprised at herself. "You said the Niliri were pacifists." "We are," Zara replied. "But I find I do not wish to see you harmed." Kate smiled briefly, then returned to her work. When the security forces finally arrived, they found the pirates contained in the main corridor, unable to advance past the improvised defenses. Later, when the danger had passed, Zara received a message from the Niliri Council. They had heard about the pirate attack. They were ordering her to return home immediately. Such violence was deemed inappropriate for a Niliri observer. Zara stood in her quarters, staring at the message. Until meeting Kate, she would have obeyed without question. Now she hesitated. A knock at her door. Kate stood there, a small cut on her forehead, but otherwise unharmed. "I heard you might be leaving. News travels fast," Zara said. Kate shrugged. "Small station." "So are you going?" The correct answer was yes. The proper Niliri response was to return home, report her observations, and resume her perfect existence. But something had changed. "I think," Zara said slowly, "I would like to learn more about humans." First, Kate's smile was worth any disapproval the council might express. 2 weeks after the pirate attack, Zara still had not left Outpost 7. She sent vague reports to the Niliri Council, claiming she needed more time to study human responses to crisis. The council was not pleased, but they did not directly order her return yet. Kate had begun teaching Zara about ship repairs. The human seemed amused by the alien's interest. "You know, you could just buy a new ship anytime you want, right?" Kate said as they worked together on replacing a worn fuel line. "Your people have more money than most humans will see in 10 lifetimes. Zara carefully followed Kate's instructions on how to seal the connection. "Yes, but there is satisfaction in fixing things. I never understood that before." Kate nodded. "I get that. Making something work again with your own hands, it's a good feeling." The Niliri did not value manual labor. Their society had evolved beyond such necessities. Machines did the work, while Niliri focused on art, philosophy, and the pursuit of perfection. But Zara found herself enjoying the feeling of accomplishment when she successfully repaired something broken. One evening, as they shared a meal in the station canteen, Kate asked, "Why are your people so interested in humans anyway? We've been in space for barely 200 years. Your civilization is thousands of years old. What could you possibly learn from us?" Zara considered the question. The official answer was scientific interest in developing species. But the truth was more complex. "We find you puzzling," she admitted. "Your species survives despite all odds. You lack our physical advantages, our technology, our lifespan, yet you spread across the stars faster than any species we have encountered. You adapt, you change, you grow. We do not understand how you don't adapt," Kate asked, surprised. "We evolved to our current state 5,000 years ago," Zara explained. "Since then we have focused on perfecting what we already are, not on becoming something new." That sounds, Kate hesitated, boring. Zara had never considered it that way, but perhaps the human was right. The Niliri existed in comfortable stasis, while humans constantly pushed boundaries even when it caused them pain. A few days later, Kate received orders to transport supplies to a mining colony on Gliesa, 876D. It was a 3-week journey. I could use a co-pilot, she told Zara. If you're interested, the Niliri had never been to Gliesa, 876D. It was a harsh world claimed by humans, but of little interest to more advanced species. The journey would mean 3 weeks in close quarters with Kate. It would mean further defying the Council's implicit wishes for her return. Zara agreed without hesitation. Kate's ship. The Starlight was small compared to Niliri vessels. The living area consisted of a tiny kitchen, common room, and 2 sleeping pods. The cockpit barely fit 2 people. Zara had to duck to avoid hitting her head on the low ceiling. Humans built for efficiency. Not comfort, Kate explained as they prepared for departure. The journey began smoothly. They slipped into hyperspace with minimal turbulence. Zara learned to help navigate to monitor the ship systems to make small repairs when needed. She also learned more about Kate. The human had grown up on Earth in a place called Minnesota. She had 3 brothers, all older. She had joined the Space Trade Guild to see the stars and to escape expectations. My family wanted me to be a doctor, Kate explained as they shared freeze-dried meals in the small kitchen. But I always loved machines more than medicine. What about you? Why did you become an observer? Zara had never been asked this question before among her people. The Niliri simply filled the roles they were best suited for. I was curious. She realized I wanted to see beyond our worlds. That is unusual among my people. Kate smiled. You might be the rebel Niliri. The thought was startling. Zara had never considered herself different from others of her kind. Yet here she was defying convention, traveling with a human learning skills no Niliri would consider necessary. On the 5th day of their journey, the ship's main drive began to malfunction. The Starlight dropped out of hyperspace, drifting in the void between systems. Can we fix it? Zara asked as Kate examined the engine. Kate sighed. It's the core stabilizer. We have a spare, but replacing it means shutting down life support for about 20 minutes. The temperature will drop pretty fast in here. Can your species handle extreme cold? Niliri were less tolerant of cold than humans evolved. For a warmer homeworld, Zara admitted. No, but I can manage if necessary. Kate nodded. I'll work as fast as I can. You should put on thermal gear. Just in case. The repair was more difficult than expected. The temperature dropped rapidly as the minutes passed. Zara felt her movements becoming sluggish, her thoughts clouding. Her species was not designed for this. Kate worked frantically, her breath fogging in the freezing air. 15 minutes had passed, and she was still connecting the final couplings. Zara felt herself sliding toward unconsciousness. The human noticed. Just a few more minutes, hang on. She moved faster, sacrificing precision for speed. Her fingers were blue with cold. But she did not stop. Suddenly, warmth began flowing back into the ship. The drive hummed back to life. Kate had succeeded. Zara felt the human lifting her, guiding her to the small heater that had just reactivated. You should have told me your species was so sensitive to cold, Kate said, wrapping thermal blankets around. The alien, it did not seem relevant, Zara mumbled as warmth slowly returned to her body. Kate shook her head. Next time, tell me the important stuff. Okay, I don't want you dying on my ship. Next time. Zara thought there would be a next time. The realization brought unexpected warmth. As Zara recovered, she noticed Kate's hands. The human's fingers were frostbitten, in places raw from working in the extreme cold, without proper protection. You are injured, she said, taking Kate's hands in her own. Kate shrugged. It's nothing. The med kit has some spray for frostbite. But you wore gloves. I took them off near the end, needed better dexterity to connect those tiny wires. You risked injury for efficiency. Kate looked confused. I did it so you'd be okay. The cold was hitting. You hard, I had to finish fast. The human had harmed herself to protect Zara. This was not logical, not efficient, it was purely emotional. Yet Zara found herself deeply moved by the gesture as the ship resumed its journey to Gliesa, 876. Something shifted. Between them, an understanding, a connection. Zara had observed humans for years but never truly seen them. Not until Kate. That night, as Kate slept in the pod next to hers, Zara sent a message to the Nyliri Council. She would not be returning after this mission was complete. She needed more time, much more time to understand humans, to understand Kate. The council would not be pleased, but for the first time in her long life, Zara did not care about their approval. She cared about something else, something new, something human. Gliesa 876D was a harsh world of stone and dust. Violent storms swept across its barren surface, regularly making the mining colony there one of the most dangerous human outposts. Kate and Zara arrived during a rare clear period, landing the Starlight on a flat plain near the colony dome. The colonists welcomed them with surprising enthusiasm. Fresh supplies were always cause for celebration, but visitors were rare. Kate introduced Zara as her co-pilot, offering no explanation for the presence of a Nyliri among them. The colonists stared but asked no questions. They were too isolated to care about species politics. The colony leader, Melody Carter, showed them around the small settlement. It consisted of a main dome connected to smaller habitat, bubbles and mining tunnels. The entire colony housed only 50 humans, all working to extract rare minerals from deep within the planet. "Must be strange for you," Melody said to Zara. "We don't get many Nyliri out here. You folks usually stay in your nice, clean sectors of space." Zara was not offended. "I am learning about human adaptability," she replied. "Your species thrives in conditions that would break others." Melody laughed. "Not sure I would call this thriving, but we're surviving." That night, the colonists held a small gathering to welcome the visitors. Food was simple but plentiful. Someone produced musical instruments handmade from mining materials. The humans sang and danced, despite their exhaustion from long work shifts. Kate joined in, pulling Zara with her. The Nyliri had never danced before. Her people enjoyed music, but in a reserved intellectual way. This wild physical expression was foreign to her. But Kate guided her movements, laughing when Zara stepped on her feet. "Just feel the rhythm," Kate said. "Don't think about it." Zara tried. The concept of not thinking was alien to her species. The Nyliri were always analyzing, always considering. But she attempted to follow Kate's advice, letting the strange human music guide her movements. Gradually, something changed. She felt the beat, not just heard it. Her body began to move more naturally. Her mind quieted, focusing only on the present moment, on Kate, on the music. When the song ended, the colonists applauded. Zara realized she had been smiling, a rare expression for her species. "You got it," Kate said, squeezing her hand. "Knew you would." The feeling stayed with her. Contentment, joy, simple pleasure in existence. The Nyliri sought perfection through control, through precision. This was different. This was freedom. They were scheduled to remain on Gliesa 876DD for 3 days, while the colonists unloaded supplies and loaded minerals for transport. Kate spent much of that time helping repair colony equipment, while Zara observed the humans working in the mines. She was struck by their resilience. These colonists lived in constant danger. Every day they descended into unstable tunnels, extracted minerals that sometimes released toxic gases, weathered storms that could tear their habitat apart. Yet they continued. They formed connections, friendships, relationships, even families. Several children had been born in the colony, despite the risks. On their final night, Melody invited Kate and Zara to dinner in her private quarters. She had been on Gliesa 876D for 15 years, longer than anyone else. Her small home was filled with handmade items, art created from mining scraps, photographs of colonists who had come and gone over the years. During dinner, a young colonist rushed in. "Emergency in Tunnel 7. 2 people trapped." Melody was on her feet immediately, ordering evacuation procedures. Kate volunteered to help with the rescue team. Zara found herself following. They descended into the mines without hesitation, though every instinct told her to remain safely in the dome. The tunnel was partially collapsed. Unstable support beams groaned, threatening to give way completely. 2 colonists were pinned behind a wall of fallen rock. They were alive but running out of air. The rescue team worked frantically, trying to create a stable path through the debris. Kate crawled into a small opening, using her mechanical knowledge to brace sections as they cleared. Rubble. Zara stood by, helpless. Her height and build made it impossible for her to fit through the same spaces as the humans. Yet she could not bring herself to leave. A support beam cracked. The tunnel shuddered. Kate was still inside, working to free the trapped colonists. Without thinking, Zara moved forward. Her species possessed greater strength than humans. She positioned herself beneath the failing ceiling section and pushed upward, holding the weight that threatened to crush everyone below. The pain was intense, the weight nearly unbearable. But she held it, watched, as Kate and another rescuer pulled the trapped colonists to safety. Then Kate turned back for her. "Go," Zara gasped. "I cannot hold this much longer." Kate ignored her. "Together," she said. The human braced herself beside Zara, adding her smaller strength to the aliens. They moved slowly, step by step, toward the tunnel entrance as rocks continued to fall around them. When they finally emerged into the main shaft, the tunnel collapsed completely behind them. They stood covered in dust, breathing heavily, looking at each other. "Why did you come back?" Zara asked. Kate looked at her as if the question made no sense. "Because you were there." Such a simple answer. Yet it contained everything Zara needed to understand about humans, about Kate. They did not abandon each other. They did not calculate value or worth or risk. They simply acted out of connection. Back in the colony dome, as medics treated minor injuries, Melody approached them. "You two make quite a team," she said. "A human and a Nyliri." "Never thought. I'd see that later in the privacy of the guest quarters they had been assigned." Kate asked, "Why did you do that back there?" "Your people avoid danger at all costs." Zara considered. "I did not think I simply acted." She paused, realizing the truth. "I did not want you to be harmed." Kate smiled gently. "That sounds pretty human of you." Human. The word had once seemed like a limitation to Zara. Now it felt like a compliment. That night, as Kate slept, Zara received a direct communication from the Nyliri High Council. Their message was clear and final. She was to return to Nyliri space immediately or face permanent exile. Her actions were deemed contaminating to Nyliri purity. Her extended contact with humans was considered dangerous to their evolutionary perfection. Zara stared at the message, feeling strangely calm. The threat that would once have terrified her now seemed empty. Their perfection had begun to look like stagnation, their purity like isolation. She made her decision without regret. In the morning she would tell Kate. But for now she watched the human sleep, marveling at how such a fragile, short-lived being could possess such strength, such courage, such capacity for connection. For the first time, Zara wondered if the Nyliri definition of perfection might be wrong. The return journey from Glisa 876 began quietly. Zara had not yet told Kate about the Nyliri Council's ultimatum. She needed time to consider her words, her path forward. The starlight carried valuable minerals, now alongside a few personal messages, and gifts from the colonists to relatives elsewhere in human space. Kate focused on navigation, while Zara monitored the cargo systems. On the second day, Kate found Zara staring at the ships. Small view screen, lost in thought. "Credit for your thoughts," Kate said, sitting beside her. Zara turned, her eyes shifting to a thoughtful blue. "I received a message from my council. They wish me to return to Nyliri space immediately," and Kate prompted, sensing there was more. "If I do not comply, I will be exiled." "No Nyliri has been exiled in 700 years, Kate's expression softened. "That's a big deal for your people." "Yes," Zara agreed. "For a Nyliri, identity comes from our connection to our species, to our shared evolution. To be cast out." She paused. To be alone, Kate was quiet for a moment. "Then what will you do?" "I do not know," Zara admitted. "My duty is clear. I should return. Yet I find I do not wish to." "What do you wish?" The question was simple, the answer complex. Zara had never considered her own wishes separate from her duty to her species. Before meeting Kate, such a concept would have seemed selfish, primitive. "I wish to continue learning," she said finally, "about humans, about other species, about myself." Kate smiled slightly. "Sounds like you've made your decision." perhaps. I have, Zara said, realizing it was true even as she spoke the words. They were 3 days from the nearest trade hub when the ship detected an anomaly ahead. The sensors showed a vessel drifting, its power systems failing. Life signs were weak but present human, Kate confirmed, checking the readings. Probably a small transport. What do you think happened? Pirates possibly, Zara suggested. Or mechanical failure. Kate adjusted their course, automatically moving to intercept. We have to check for survivors, Zara nodded, though caution nagged at her. The Niliri would never stop to investigate a damaged ship. Too risky, too unpredictable. But she was learning to think beyond Niliri limitations. They approached carefully, scanning continuously. The ship was indeed a small, human transport designed for a crew of 2 or 3. The hull showed damage consistent with weapons fire. No response to hails, Kate said. All systems over there are failing, including life support. Can we dock with it? Kate shook her head. Too damaged. But we could use the emergency suits, get over there through vacuum. It would be dangerous. The damaged ship might lose structural integrity at any moment. Void exposure would be fatal to both human and Niliri alike. Yet Zara did not hesitate. The crossing was tense. Even with magnetic boots, they had to move carefully across the 20 meters of open space between the ships. A piece of debris struck Zara's helmet, leaving a small crack that hissed ominously. She increased her pace inside the damaged vessel. They found a single survivor, a young human female, unconscious but alive. 2 others had not survived the attack. The survivor wore a guild uniform similar to Kate's, but with different insignia: pilot trainee. Kate said, checking the human's identification. Mia Taylor Shez, just a kid. They worked quickly, securing the unconscious human in an emergency transport cocoon, gathering essential personal items and data cores. Moving her back across the void was difficult, but they managed. Kate stayed by the young human's side as Zara piloted the Starlight away from the damaged ship. The medical supplies on board were limited, but Kate knew enough basic treatment to stabilize Mia. She had suffered vacuum exposure and minor burns, but would recover. 20 hours later, Mia regained consciousness. Her first reaction was fear, seeing Zara's blue alien form looming over her. It's okay, Kate reassured her. She's with me. We're taking you to Outpost 11. The guild's been notified. Mia's story emerged slowly. Pirates had attacked her training vessel. She and her instructors had fought back but were overwhelmed. The pirates had taken anything valuable and left them drifting. The life support failure had come later. You saved me, Mia said, her voice still weak. Yeah, you could have just reported the location. Kate looked surprised. We wouldn't do that. The injured human turned to Zara. Even you don't look like the rescuing type. No offense. Zara considered her answer honestly. Before meeting Kate, she would have indeed called for authorities and continued her journey. The risk of personal intervention would have seemed unnecessary. I am learning new ways, she said. During the journey to Outpost 11, Mia gradually warmed to them. She was young, barely 20 standard years, but had already seen more of space than many humans. Her dream was to captain her own ship one day. You will, Kate told her confidently. Every good captain has a disaster story, makes you respect the void. Zara observed their interactions, fascinated by how quickly humans formed connections, how they shared experiences, dreams, fears. Despite knowing Mia for only days, Kate treated her like family. The Niliri formed no such bonds with strangers. When they finally reached Outpost 11, a medical team was waiting. Mia would be treated, then sent home to recover before resuming her training. As the medics took her away, she grabbed Zara's hand. Thanks, Blue, she said with a tired smile. Tell your people not all humans are hopeless. Zara nodded, surprised by the emotion that rose within her. She hoped the young human would achieve her dreams. That night in their temporary quarters at the outpost, Kate found Zara composing a message. To your council. Kate asked. Yes. Zara confirmed. I am formally accepting. Exile. Kate sat beside her. You sure about this? Your people live for centuries. That's a long time to be alone. Zara looked at the human. I am beginning to understand that being among one species is not the same as not being alone. My people stand together, yet separate, each pursuing individual perfection. We do not connect as humans do. We do not share pain or joy or fear, and that's what you want. Connection. Zara nodded slowly. Yes, I believe it is. I have experienced more life in these weeks with you than in decades among my own kind. Kate was quiet for a moment. Then where will you go? What will you do? I do not know. Zara admitted, the future is uncertain. I have never faced such uncertainty. Sounds exciting, Kate said. Exciting. Zara considered the word yes. Perhaps it is. Kate hesitated, then spoke. I have a delivery route that takes me through 6 systems. More after that if I want the assignments. Plenty to see. Plenty to learn. She paused. You could come along as my permanent co-pilot. If you wanted. Zara looked at the human, feeling something shift inside her. A choice. A path forward. Not perfect. Not certain. But real. I would like that, she said. Kate smiled. It won't be comfortable by your standards. No luxury. No stability. Probably some danger. Those things do not matter anymore, Zara said, realizing it was true. Comfort, stability, safety. The priorities of her people seemed hollow now compared to what she had found with Kate. She sent the message to the council accepting her fate. Then together they planned their next journey, a human and an Illyri charting a course neither of their species would have predicted. 1 year passed. Zara and Kate had settled into a rhythm, traveling the trade routes of human space in the starlight. The ship had undergone modifications to better accommodate Zara's height. The cargo hold had been expanded, allowing them to take more lucrative contracts. They had built a reputation for reliability and discretion. Zara had not heard from the Illyri since her exile. The silence was expected but still painful at times. She missed certain aspects of her former life. The libraries, the music, the familiar blue skies of her homeworld. But those moments of loss grew less frequent as her new life took shape. She had become more than Kate's co-pilot. She was a partner in their small business. Kate handled negotiations and repairs while Zara managed navigation, security, and cargo. Their different strengths complemented each other. Their different perspectives solved problems neither could have tackled alone. The human had taught Zara to dance, to laugh, to enjoy simple pleasures. Food and music and the beauty of diverse worlds. Zara had taught Kate about the stars, about history, about patience. They had saved each other countless times from pirates, from mechanical failures, from the void itself. Their current contract had brought them to Earth, Kate's homeworld. A place few Illyri had ever visited. Zara stood now on the shore of a lake in Minnesota, watching sunset paint the water in colors that reminded her of Kate's eyes. The human approached, carrying 2 steaming cups. This is what I told you about, Zara. Hot chocolate. Best thing on cold evenings. Zara accepted the drink. Their fingers touched briefly. Kate had stopped flinching at the difference in their skin temperatures months ago. The blue of Zara's hand against the pink of Kate's had become a familiar sight to them both. They sat on a wooden dock, feet dangling above the water around them. Birds called their evening songs. The air smelled of pine and earth scents. Zara had come to associate with this strange human world. Kate's family had welcomed Zara with curiosity and warmth. They asked endless questions about Illyri culture, but never made her feel like a specimen. They included her in family meals and conversations and photographs. The concept of found family was new to Zara. The Illyri valued genetic lineage, not chosen connections. Tomorrow they would leave Earth again. A new contract awaited them, transporting scientific equipment to a research station orbiting Jupiter. Zara found herself eager to return to space, to the life they had built together. What are you thinking about? Kate asked, sipping her chocolate. Zara considered. I was thinking about perfection. The human raised an eyebrow. Yours or mine? Neither, Zara said. The concept itself. My people believe perfection is the goal of existence. We have spent thousands of years pursuing it through genetic refinement. through technological advancement, through isolation from contaminating influences. And now, I believe we were wrong, Zara said simply. The words no longer felt like betrayal, just truth. Perfection is stagnation. It leaves no room for growth, for discovery, for connection. My people are dying slowly in their perfect isolation. Kate was quiet, letting Zara continue. I have learned more in 1 year with you than in a century among my own kind. I have felt more experienced, more grown, more. She searched for the right word, alive. The human smiled. I like you alive. They watched the sun disappear behind the trees, stars appearing one by one in the darkening sky Zara could name. Each one could tell which had planets, which had been explored by which species. The universe was vast, filled with different forms of life, different ways of being. Yet here in this moment, she felt she had found her place. Kate broke the silence. I got a message today from the guild. They offered me a permanent position, running the repair dock at Outpost 7 where we met. Good pay, stable hours. Zara turned surprised. You did not tell me. Wanted to think about. At first, Kate admitted. It's different from what we've been doing. The Starlight would be grounded, mostly just short runs for parts. Would you accept it? Kate shrugged. Told them I'd discuss it with my partner. The word warmed Zara in a way the hot drink could not. It would mean settling in one place. Kate continued. Less adventure, more routine. Might be boring after a while. I have discovered, Zara said, that boredom depends not on location but on perspective. I find nothing boring when shared with you. Kate laughed. That was almost romantic. Blue Zara smiled, an expression that had once felt foreign but now came naturally. I am learning. They sat in comfortable silence, finishing their drinks. The temperature dropped. Zara felt Kate lean against her, seeking warmth. The human was always cold in comparison to Nyliri body heat. If we stayed at Outpost 7, Zara said finally, I could continue my original mission. Studying humans. Kate looked up. Thought you were done with that. Not done. Zara said, never done. There is too much to learn about your species, but my focus has narrowed. Now I wish to understand just one human. The smile that spread across Kate's face was answer enough. Later that night, as Kate slept, Zara stood at the window of the small, lakeside cabin looking at the stars. The Nyliri system was visible from Earth, a faint cluster of light. Years ago, she had gazed at Earth from her homeworld, never imagining she would stand here, never imagining the path her life would take. She composed a message in her mind addressed to the Nyliri Council. Though they would never receive it, the act of forming the words helped clarify her thoughts. You believe you have cast me out, she thought. You believe exile is punishment, but I have not been. Cast into darkness, I have been freed to find light. I once thought, as you did, that perfection was the absence of flaw. Now I understand perfection is not the destination, it is the journey. It exists in moments of connection, in growth, in change. She looked back at the sleeping human, the imperfect, fragile, short-lived being who had shown her a different way of existing. For a human, I could never be perfect. Kate had once said during a difficult repair, when her smaller hands struggled with alien technology. But I couldn't take my eyes off her, Zara had replied, watching Kate work with admiration. Now those words carried new meaning. Perfection was not what either of them sought from each other. They sought understanding, companionship, growth, the chance to see the universe through different eyes. To share the journey in the morning, they would make their decision about the guild offer. Together, they would weigh options, consider possibilities, map their future. Not with the calculating precision of the Nyliri, not with the impulsive emotion of humans, but with something new, something they had created together. Zara turned from the window and rejoined Kate. The human shifted in sleep, making room without waking. Tomorrow would bring choices, challenges, changes. But tonight, in this moment, two beings from worlds apart had found something neither had expected: connection. And in that connection, Zara had discovered what her people, with all their striving for perfection, had missed. The most perfect thing in the universe was not flawlessness, not immortality, not power. It was the simple, miraculous ability to grow, to change, to connect. She had traveled across the stars only to learn that perfection was never what she had been looking for.